Good afternoon, PSE Sciences. So, for this time or for this period, we are on Inorganic Chemistry lecture. So, I have already given you some overview, but add on for this YouTube channel, you have to list all what I'm going to give. So, this is now what we are going to cover for our lecture. So, of course, we have the definition of chemistry as you have given on the different aspect. It's more on the composition in which you have the states of matter. Then the properties, we have listed at least 10 properties. And then the energy that undergoes in this aspect of matter. So we have 3. So these things will be given by each of the group that I have assigned. So, when we say chemistry, it deals with matters with its composition, properties, changes, and other classification that we have illustrated last meeting. Okay. Inorganic chemistry is one of the branches of chemistry. There are a lot, more than 10 branches we have, but inorganic is your subject. So it deals with the word organic means carbon. So when we say inorganic, in means without carbon. So we will be working more on the minerals or the elements that we have in the periodic table. Okay? The next thing is, what is the importance of studying chemistry? So we have a lot of benefits for chemistry. So one is agriculture. When we say agriculture, we are referring more on the food that we eat. It's considered also the animals, no? So the basic need in which we have also come from the different animals. Marine life animals or organism is also included. Of course, the vegetable, the different crops, that is more on the agriculture. Then the second importance is medicine or the medical world. The medical world wherein we have two importance, in which one is the treatment. Like for example, for today's situation, we are looking for a vaccine to kill that so-called coronavirus. Okay. Another, aside from treatment, we also have for the medicine world, the wellness. Wellness meaning to say, we have to maintain a healthy body, a healthy physical body, so that we could go on with the things that we need to work on. And then the third benefits, the importance that we have for chemistry are all those products in industry. So the basic needs, we have the infrastructure, the different building. Those are materials that we could work on to build those bridges and other objects that we could use for traveling. So as I've said, traveling. So another importance of chemistry is transportation. So most of our transportation make use of fuel, and fuel is chemistry, no? So from the jeepney, taxi, motorcycles, or even airplanes, no? As well as the ship. So those needs fuel, and those are considered ways of transportation. And then we cannot forget, or we cannot regret, not regret, but we may say that it's also important to have the social media. So the advantage or the benefits we gain from that in chemistry is what we call communication. So meaning to say, with the use of those silicon chips, the reason why we have the computer. Okay, we also consider the importance of military, meaning to say, in every country, there is what we call defense. So, for the countries to be protected, their citizens to be protected, so we need some what we call missiles, bombs. Those are a combination of chemicals which is considered for me, no, some of them cannot be considered as advantage because they may kill people, no. Even the simple gunpowder as used in the bullet for firing is considered not to kill the people but to defend oneself. So we could consider those important as benefits from chemistry. And I could also consider the last one as on the negative side, what we call mutation. Mutation from living things. Like for example, the hybrid of plants, the hybrid of animals, and even we have the so-called cloning, and that is mutation, no? So on the side of those who are doing those aspects is positive, but I could consider it more on the negative side. So we still have many things that we could consider important in terms of chemistry. As I've mentioned, one is agriculture, second is the medical world, third is industries, together with infrastructure. Then fourth is transportation, the fifth one is communication, the sixth one is military, and the seventh one is the mutation. These are considered, I do hope those who are discovering or inventing for this matter would be on the positive side rather than on the negative side. Okay, that is our lesson 1. We also include the classification of matter in which you are going to have the presentation by next meeting. Okay, I do hope that this would be a clear view of what are the composition of compounds, or we may say products of chemistry. Okay, that's lesson 1. Okay, so we could now proceed with lesson 2. For lesson 2, we have the development of the so-called atomic theory. And who are those scientists who are involved in the development of atomic theory? So we have 1, John Dalton, 2, Ernest Rutherford, 3, J.J. Thomson, and the fourth one was Niels Bohr. So these are 4 important scientists who help us understand more how an atom look like. Atom is very important because we cannot have the elements without the atom. And from the elements, we could not proceed to compounds, which we consider products. And these products are very important to us. So we need to know how each of these scientists describe an atom. Okay? So that would be for lesson 2. And that is very important for us to know, to differentiate how the atom look like with the presentation or description or experiment made by these scientists. So, considering also the description of each one of these will help us to know whether they are correct with the so-called subatomic particles, in which John Dalton as a whole, as an atom, and then Ernest Rutherford, it's more on the proton. J.J. Thomson is more on the electron, and Niels Bohr is more on the behavior of the electron, in which we are also discuss the different parameter in which Niels Bohr describe it. Okay, so that is chapter 2. So for chapter 3, we have to consider the so-called subatomic particles. Okay? For the subatomic particles, we have the proton, electron, and the neutron. Okay? These 3 subatomic particles are very important in an element. Okay? An element cannot exist without these 3 subatomic particles. Okay? Aside